All right, let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks. This is a team sitting at 4-4 in the middle of a brutally competitive NFC West, heading into a massive matchup this weekend. And to that end, the Seahawks just made, I think, a really smart move. They've got a new starter at a key position. I think this is a great decision by the Seahawks coaching staff. I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, the Seattle Seahawks squad, a lot of people were sleeping on them coming into this season. It's been a little bit, I'll say, variable with how they performed. Some really great performances, some not so good, but that's what you expect. Teams 4-4, right in the middle of the pack, a chance to make a big statement this weekend against the Rams and take first place, maybe shared first place, but still first place nonetheless in that really tough NFC West. And to that end, the Seahawks coaching staff just named a long-term starter. They've ended a position battle. Let's pull up this report courtesy of SI.com. Through the first 8 weeks of the season, to the chagrin of some fans, the Seattle Seahawks have held an ongoing competition at right guard, rotating rookie Christian Haynes into the lineup in platoon role behind Anthony Bradford. But as the Seahawks ramp up preparation for hosting the Rams on Sunday, according to coach Mike McDonald and offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb, that competition finally has a winner. With continuity along the offensive line being a top priority, the team will move forward with Bradford as the undisputed starter, no more platooning, no longer instituting rotation at the position. I think especially last game, he's proven that he's our starting right guard. Grubb told reporters following Thursday's practice, it'd be good to go to the game and let center Connor Williams feel good about the guys that are going to be next to him and have a consistent front. All right, I think this is the right decision by the Seattle Seahawks. I understand maybe there's some rationale for having the platoon figure out who's going to be your guy going forward, but you're at the midpoint now. You've got a chance to really get yourself in a good position in the division. You've got to make a move. They stick with the veteran. I think it's the right move to make. Miles, I know you got some thoughts on this, but first, Seahawks fans in the comment section below, like we mentioned, massive matchup this weekend. Rams, Seahawks, it's going to be a good one. Rams are getting a little bit healthier at some positions. The Seahawks looking like they're ready to make a big move. Great clash here in that division. Give us your prediction, final score, Seahawks, Rams. Want to hear from you guys. Put it in the comment section. But Myers, what are your thoughts on this latest news out of Seattle?
Yeah, Nick, I think this is a really good move for the Seahawks, especially because it was warranted. There needed to be a competition early on in the season. If you look at Bradford's early play this season, the first 3 weeks of the season specifically, he was up and very down at times, heavy on the penalties. He has 7 total penalties this season, all 7 of those in the first 3 games, 3 in the first one, 2 in the second one, 2 in the third one. Since then, 0 penalties for Bradford. He's cleaned up his play, gotten consistently better in these last 2 weeks. Week 7 versus Atlanta, week 8 versus Buffalo. He had his best performances back to back of the season thus far. The 67 overall grade versus Atlanta with that huge 87 pass blocking grade by him. And then this past week versus Buffalo, 65 overall grade with a great 67.9 run blocking grade for him as well. So I think this is really big for the Seahawks because in the article, they hit on it. Continuity is the key. I'm sure you want your starting center to be comfortable with the people that are playing around him, and the fact that that is the case, there's some questions there. I think that's an issue. I think this was the move. They needed to end the battle. They needed to have a solid starter because that left side of the line, really good. Cross is doing really great. Tomlinson's doing pretty good. And then Williams at the center has been solid as well. The right side of the line, it has been the weak point all season. Injuries there. Jarrell, the starting tackle, as a young guy. And then having another young guy at guard, I don't think it was the right move, especially because no one was performing at a high level. We saw this year, Seahawks set 22nd in run blocking, 25th in pass blocking. So a move, it needed to be made. This was the right move, especially of how the performance has been going the last 2 games. I think Bradford is going to bring a lot of really good stuff to the Seahawks offensive line. And I think it's going to show, like we talked about, like you alluded to, Nick, competitive NFC West division. They're going to come in here, NFC West division. They're going to come in here, put on some solid performance, hopefully win some games so they can continue to potentially win this division and make a strong playoff push.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a good move for the micro. And what I mean by micro, just getting the best player on the field, the player that has you the best chance of success, right? And I think that's Bradford, even though Haynes may have a bright future. Today it's Bradford, especially that he picked fixed some of those penalty issues. But when you look at the macro issue with the Seattle Seahawks, it's been just volatile performances, right? They start the season off 3-0, then they lose three in a row. Then they beat a really good Falcons team. I mean, the Falcons, this is a really talented team. They're the favorite to win the NFC South. They've got veterans everywhere, smart coaching staff. They go into Atlanta and beat them by 20, dominate them from the get-go. And you go, okay, this is a really good Seattle Seahawks team. They fixed all their problems. Then they go out last week, their last performance, and they get blown apart by a good, but still not world-beating Buffalo Bills team. So there's some volatility with Seattle. We understand injuries happen, right? It's a National Football League. Some teams have it worse than others, and that leads to some volatility. So what do you do with the coaching staff when you're trying to fix your performance week to week? You keep the players that are performing consistent, right? Injuries will happen, so that'll change it. So you remove some of the risk with some volatility by keeping the same players. So you go and move away from position battles. You say, no, we're going to go with one guy now at this position, specifically right guard in this case. And I think that's a smart move because if you look at the Seattle Seahawks, they go from holding the Miami Dolphins, albeit, they've had injuries at the time, to 3 points, to giving up 42 against the Lions. Hey, that's a good team. And then somehow they lose to the Giants 29-20. That wasn't ugly. They gave the 49ers a good run for it. 49ers pulled away late. But then they come back and smash Atlanta, like I said. It's sort of one of these teams where you don't know what you're going to get week to week. And right now, as coaching staff, as they try and win this division and make some noise in the NFC, they need to really get that window of volatility down. They really need to say, okay, what is our performance? How are we going to play each and every Sunday so we can come up with a game plan and a strategy? And the way to do that is just to stick with the same players. And I agree with you. I think Bradford is the right guy to stick with. I think going forward, any of these other position battles, and there weren't really a lot of other ones, at least not at this level, will kind of go away, as well as this Seahawks team understands 9 games to go. They've got the team they have. They've got to put their best players on the field. They've got to make sure they're more consistent week in and week out. And I think this move will help them with that.